everyone, it's Jennifer and thank you for joining me today. I have a very special tutorial to do today, and we are going to be putting together the Night Owl Bracelet kit from the amazing and brilliant mind of Danielle Wickes from Danielle Wickes Jewelry and John B. Corp. Now this is a kit that, so it's Friday night, Thursday night she still had it available. And when you get a kit from her, this is what you get. You get written instructions. So you'll get written instructions and you will get all the pieces you need to make that piece of jewelry. So we have some wire, we have some beads, and I will tell you, I love these owl beads. These owl beads are incredible. She sells these separately, individually on her, in her Etsy shop too. They're incredible. Then these coffee bean beads. I love these coffee bean beads, and she had them on her site. I don't know if she has them still, but if she does have them, I'll put a link to these coffee bean beads in the description. I will put a link to the description for this kit. And then it looks like we have some 6mm check glass. We have some, let's see, that looks like 4mm maybe, and then some 3mm. And then we have a couple of his hibiscus flower beads. And we have some wire. Then we also have our findings and our seed beads. I love these seed beads. Look at that color. I just love that amazing color. It's like an olive, in between an olive and a hunter green. It's just beautiful. And then her amazing findings. And she is using the copper color. So we have a head pin. We have a link. I love these coil links, or they're either coil or rope links. I love them. And the chain that she uses is just incredible. We have one of these amazing, these are succulent charms. We have crescent moon, we have a lobster clasp, we have some crimp tubes, and then we have some other spacer beads here too. So when you order the kit, you get these amazing instructions on how to put the bracelet together. She also has a list of everything that is included in the kit, and then beautiful drawings and very well written instructions. But what I'm going to do for you today is we're going to go ahead and put this together. And I thought that I would go ahead and record this to share with everyone. So if you don't have this kit already, go ahead and use the link in the description box. Now, when I saw this, I looked and noticed that I had done a coffee bean bead bracelet from her Busy Bees. It was a Busy Bees kit, and it just included tons of beads and seed beads, and I think I might have added these flower. These are flower nugget spacers from Tierra Cast. I think that's the only thing that I added. And so what she told me was, because I thought, oh, that is a beautiful bracelet. She actually said that this design was inspired by my design. And so when I look at hers, of course, I'm like, oh, well, man, maybe I should have put some extra spacers in between here, which I might go back and change. And instead of only using 2 of those spacer beads, add a few more. Now, something else I have to disclose, and we actually talked about this yesterday evening, was my hands are a mess. They're a mess. My nails are all torn apart. I did some hammering, and of course I'm not very gentle with it, you know, because I'm holding the little blank and I'm hammering my nail. Then I switch over to this one and I hammer that. And so my hands are a mess. And I told her, I am not really doing a whole lot of recording because my hands are a mess. And that really is the first thing you see are our fingers, right? Well, she says, just share that you have the hands of a jewelry designer. So Danielle, if you're watching, thank you very much for the inspiration yesterday evening. And if you do not know who Danielle Wickes is, jump on over to her Instagram. I'm going to put a link to her Instagram and her Facebook page in the description. Go check out her Etsy shop. She is a creative director, I believe it's creative director with John Bead Corp. And John Bead has some amazing seed beads and just anything and everything you can think of. So go check out her Etsy shop. And for one thing, grab one of these kits and then see all the other goodies that she has available. Another thing that she has available, she has for Softflex Company's Customer Appreciation Week. Danielle is going to be involved in that in September. Go and grab, she has these, I think in 4 or 5 different flavors. And again, you get everything you need. And so amazing, she figured out a way of using the very fine or extra fine beading wire from Softflex Company to use it with her seed beads and in her designs. Incredible. So jump on over and grab some of those too. Then also tonight's Friday night. She also had, she was guest designer on Sam's Bead Shop YouTube channel tonight. And this is the Owls of the Earth. And this was her class for tonight. And I believe he said this is sold out, but they do have the seed bead mix. The seed bead mix is amazing. Look at those colors. And I think he said that they still have some of those. Then also too, Sam has a new app, and Danielle is going to be another designer on a Friday night. Well, I don't know if it's Friday, but it is September 23rd, and she is going to be an amazing necklace using some peyote stitch and some more tiara cast components. So a lot there. So my description area is going to be packed with stuff for Danielle. So let me get things arranged here, and I'm going to come right back and we're going to go ahead and get started on this. Okay, so now I have everything all laid out of how we are going to assemble that, starting here and ending down here. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my Softflex, and this is fine. And if you haven't seen Softflex before, Softflex beading wire is just amazing. I love it. I use it in so many of my projects. I also have a fine line, and I use their sterling silver beading wire, and it's just absolutely amazing. Their crimp tubes are incredible too. So I am a fan of Softflex. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and we are going to take this chain that we have here, and we're gonna thread that through, and we're gonna come all the way down to the end. So we're gonna come all the way down to the end, and then we're gonna go ahead and put one of these crimp tubes through there and thread them through both. Okay. I'm not going to use magic crimpers on this. I'm just going to use some standard crimping pliers. And I just went all the way down to the center, and going to not get all of those beads in there, but I want to leave some wiggle room. So I want to leave some room for the chain to move around, and I don't want my wires to cross. And so I can see that my wires are not crossed. I'm going to grab my crimper tool, my crimpers here. And what that's going to do is when you crimp, there's 2 different channels in these crimpers where you have, where you're going to make like a crescent moon, and then you're going to fold it over. So we're going to go ahead, and that back notch here is where you're going to separate the 2 strands. And so go ahead and plug that in there, and make sure that you have your crimper tool over the entire crimp tube, okay? Then go ahead and just give it a squeeze. When you give it a squeeze, you can see now that those are separated. Okay, so now just rotate that and come in, and with that top notch, so the top notch, you're gonna go ahead and fold that over. And so go ahead and give it another squeeze and it folds that over. Sometimes what I do just for a little bit of add is I'll come in and I'll give it just another little bit of a squeeze. That I didn't need to do because it was already pinched over as much as I could. And I give it the little tug test and everything is fine. And yes, I made a mess of my seed beads. And you'll see there's tons of seed beads here. You have so many more left over. So yeah, I made a mess. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to start assembling. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put one of these gorgeous Picasso fire polish. And as I go through these beads, I'm going to actually give you the right size of these as well as the right name. These here are the 6mm. These are 6mm. I think I called them 4, which they looked way big to be a 4. These here are 8, and then these little itty bitty ones are 5. And this, of course, as you probably know, this isn't the hibiscus. This is the wildflower. So I was totally wrong on all of that. And we're actually gonna thread those through both. And then we're gonna also thread through both one of these copper spacers. Okay, so the first step was to thread through both wires, one of these 6mm and one of the spacers. Now we're gonna split it up. So now we're gonna take one, and as you can tell, I don't need a needle. Even though this is the fine soft flex, I still don't need a needle. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pick up one of the seed beads. I'm gonna pick up one of my coffee bean beads, and then 9 more seed beads. So we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And you see, I don't have to pick them up. I have a beading mat, and it's just easier to just pick them up with the wire. Okay, and I'm gonna bring that down to the bottom. Then on this side, we are going to pick up 8 seed beads, a coffee bean, and then 2. So you'll see there's still 10, it's just spaced out just a little bit differently. So we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're gonna pick up our coffee bean bead, plug that through there. Then we're gonna do 2 seed beads. And these seed beads, I think, are called avocado green, which I said they were kind of a hunter green and did I say olive? I think I said olive green, but they're avocado green. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're going to, for both strands, we're going to feed through a spacer. We're gonna feed through a seed bead. And if you see, I have them just a little offset, just so that it's easier when you're passing both strands through to get one strand through and then the other, which I'm not really doing a very good job of. But let's go ahead and do that. Okay, and then I'm gonna get this other one put through and pass this one through. Okay, bring that all down. Then we're going to use one of the wildflower, not hibiscus, one of the wildflower beads. pass that through both strands. And again, I'm going through both strands. Then we're going to get another seed bead to go through both strands, and then another spacer, and get another spacer. All right, then let's go ahead and bring that all down here. And look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? I love it. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do the opposite. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to take one strand and we are going to do the opposite. So we're going to do 8 seed beads with this color and then 2, and then we're going to do 1 with 9. So let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then we're going to put on opposite color here, the maroon, and then we're going to go like 9, 10, so that we have 10 seed beads total. Okay, we're going to grab our other strand and we're going to grab 1 seed bead. Then we're going to grab 1 of the coffee beans. And then we're going to grab 9 of the seed beads. And again, you're going to have so many seed beads left over. All right, there we go there. And who doesn't want seed beads in their stash? I know I do, especially John Bead seed beads. Then, have you seen any of Danielle's classes? She does classes with, as I mentioned at the beginning, with Sam's Bead Shop. She also does with Neely Patel from Silver Silk and More. She was an instructor in the Jesse James Beads Summer Camp, which was incredible. And then, what else? Michaels. She is an instructor in Michaels. So check her out. So we're going to go ahead and use a spacer and this gorgeous owl bead. It helps if I put it through there. And again, both strands are going through, and then we're going to add our spacer. All right, so what I'm going to do is I am going to add the second half here onto the bracelet, and then I'll come back for us to finish it off and get some embellishments going. Okay, so I took the time away to clean up my seed bead mess. Look how many seed beads you have left over. You have plenty of seed beads left over for another project. I also have, I'm going to have 1 of each of these beads left over. So, you know, I might try and come up with a little pendant with that. So if I do, I will be sure to share it, and I'll share a picture of it on my Instagram. So be sure to jump on over to my Instagram and start following. All right, so now we're to the end. So now what we're going to do is we are going to bring in our lobster clasp. And what we need to do is we are going to thread on our crimp tube onto both strands, bring it down to the bottom. Then, I mean, you can pass both strands through if you want a little bit of extra protection, but you can just pass one through. Then go ahead and bring it back through, and not for security purposes, but just for the sake of it being easier to handle, I will pass it through that, that first bead, just because it's easier for me to pull on and to adjust if I am pulling from this end here. And I just feel like I get it a little bit better. I just feel like I have a better hold of it. And I do want some wiggle room, which I did not allow for. And you also don't want a stiff bracelet. So I will sometimes just kind of loosen it up a little bit, not too loose where you can see a bunch of gaps, but I just kind of kind of work it into a way where it's all where it's a little loosey-goosey, but not too loose. And so I just kind of form it into what the bracelet would look like and go from there. So now what I'm going to go ahead and do is I like that. I like where that's at. And I'm going to go ahead and bring in my crimper tool, and I'm going to get over, I'm going to go into that back notch over the crimp tube and just give it a squish. Okay. Then I'm going to go into the front notch and give it another squish. And these are really, really good crimp tubes. And if I wanted to, I could come in and just give it a little bit extra here. And I know I don't need to, because when I was squeezing on it, there was no tension. And so I did enough with the crimper tool here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to come in and trim off our ends. And so what I'm going to do is I have to grab my magnifying glass, put it up here on the top, and then I have to come in with my cutters so I can try and see. And I want to just get that one wire. Then I'm going to come in on this end, and I am just going to give it just a little bit of a snip. Make sure I'm not snipping the other one too. And there we go. Give it the little tug test and we're good. And I can remove the magnifying glass. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we have the embellishments to add. So let's go ahead and make that dangle. So we have our head pin here, and we're gonna go ahead and thread it on there. And that's just so gorgeous. You can see through the bead, but then you can also see that gorgeous antique copper. Then I just want a small neck. I just want my neck to be enough to wrap 3 wraps around, because I'm not going to do a simple loop because it's going to go at the end here, and I want that added security. So I'm going to do a wrapped loop where I make my loop and then I wrap around the neck. This is how you determine the thickness or the height of your neck, is by where your bend is in your head pin. Okay. And I'm gonna let's try and get a 90-degree angle bend. And there's my 90-degree angle bend. I'm gonna come in with my round nose pliers, and my palm is facing me. And I'm gonna come in, I don't need a huge loop, so I'm just gonna come in just a little bit off the tip. And I'm just gonna form that around my the top barrel. As I'm holding on to this, because I don't want it to slide, I am gonna just rotate my wrist. And so now my wrist is, or my palm is facing the table. And then I'm gonna go ahead and smooch that to the back. And when you look at it, it's off-centered. So if you look at it, it's off-centered, right? So now what I'm gonna just do is I'm just going to rotate my wrist until I get that all nice and centered. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I am going to come in with some chain nose pliers and just open that up a little bit. And then I'm going to go ahead and attach it to the chain, just like so. And then I'm just going to kind of just close it up again, just a little bit with the chain nose pliers. Then I'm going to go ahead and hold on to that loop. Now I'm only holding on to the loop. So these chain nose pliers have a narrow enough tip where I can just, if you can look here, I don't have my chain nose pliers over where the wires meet. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in with my bent chain nose pliers, and I'm going to just start wrapping. And I want to get, 3 or 4 good wraps, good clean wraps. And something to also think about is that you have a glass bead there, and you do not want to get your wraps so close to here that it'll crack it. So I'm just going to go 3 wraps around. I'm going to come in with the flush side of my cutters and just give it a little bit of a trim. Then, since I have something to hold on to, I can hold it on hold on to this probably with my fingers, and I'm just gonna tuck in that little tail at the end to finish off that. Now, if you don't have strong fingers, I mean, I don't, but you can come in with your bent chain nose pliers and come in and do the same thing and just give it a little bit of a bend. I mean, a little bit of a squish with your chain nose pliers. Okay, so now we have that. Then we also have our embellishments here. We have a crescent moon, and then we also have our succulent, and then we have this gorgeous oval ring, and it's chunky. So I'm going to grab my wider nose chain nose pliers. They're a little bit wider for this, and then I'm just going to go ahead and open them up. Open that up, and I'm going to go ahead and put it on this here. And then let's go ahead and put on our crescent. And then we're going to go ahead and put on our charm. And you can see the orientation is right. They're both going in the right direction, or in the same direction. And get that closed up. Get that nice and closed up, nice and tight. And there you have it. This is the owl bracelet. And then you can, again, if you have a small wrist, you can put it here. If you have a larger wrist, you have an adjustable size there. And you can even, if you have to, go ahead and you can attach it. If you have a smaller wrist, you can go ahead and attach it to that. If I can get it there, you can attach it to the link that, or the rope jump ring. Okay, and there you have it. This is the owl bracelet from Danielle Wickes, and it's actually the Night Owl Bracelet kit from Danielle Wickes. Jump on over to her Etsy shop and grab yourself one, and then come back here and watch and see how to put it together. So be sure to leave me a comment. I read everybody's comments. Be sure to if you like the video, give me a big, huge thumbs up. Jump on over to Danielle's site. And also, if you haven't done so, subscribe. We are nearing the 1,000 subscriber mark here. And I cannot thank everybody enough for tuning in and watching these videos here. I hope this helps you out a little bit. And until next time, have a good one.